You know, when we step into our 50s, 60s, or beyond, there comes a moment when we look into the mirror and quietly realize my body has changed. The steps feel a little heavier. The stairs seem a bit steeper. The joints whisper their morning reminders that time moves in one direction only. I once worked with a woman named Linda, 68. Each time she came to see me, she would sigh and say, "Why is my body betraying me? I used to do so much without feeling tired." I looked at her, smiled gently, and said, "Your body isn't betraying you. It's simply being honest about its age." Have you ever felt that way? That bittersweet mix of sadness, frustration, and nostalgia? I want you to imagine this. If you had a lifelong friend who stayed by your side for 60 years, carrying you through heartbreak and joy, recovering from every illness, holding the weight of every responsibility, would you be angry with that friend for walking a little slower today? Your body is that friend. Science tells us that after 50, the body doesn't break down. It simply shifts into a different rhythm, slower, softer, more in need of listening. The suffering doesn't come from aging itself. It comes from clinging to the version of ourselves we were decades ago. We compare, we blame, we feel betrayed. But here's the surprising truth. The moment we stop fighting, the moment we begin speaking to our body with kindness, something inside us softens, the heart opens. I remember Linda telling me recently, "Teacher, I've started thanking my legs every morning. They're weaker, yes, but they still take me on my little walk around the neighborhood. I don't resent them anymore." And in her eyes, I saw something I had never seen before. Peace. Age may take away strength, but it offers something far more precious: understanding. When you learn to befriend your body not as an enemy but as an old companion, you begin to see that wisdom, compassion, and presence grow stronger exactly at this stage of life. So today, if your body aches, if it moves slowly, if it feels heavier than before, try placing your hand on your chest and whispering, "Thank you for carrying me this far." From that moment on, aging stops feeling like a battle and becomes a journey worth honoring. There's another truth we begin to understand more clearly after 50. Time is no longer infinite. When we were young, we acted as if life stretched endlessly in front of us. We rushed, we chased, we postponed what mattered, believing we could always come back to it later. But somewhere in our 50s or 60s, something shifts. Maybe it's the first time a close friend passes away. Maybe it's the day you realize your children no longer need you the way they once did. Or maybe it's simply waking up one morning and feeling time settle gently on your shoulders. Have you ever had that moment, a quiet realization that the pages of your life are turning faster than before? Now I want you to imagine this. Someone hands you a beautiful hourglass and says, "There is still sand left, but not as much as before. What will you do with it?" That's not a threat. It's an invitation. After 50, the question is no longer, "How much can I accomplish?" but rather, "What truly matters to my soul?" And suddenly, the things we once fought so hard for, winning arguments, proving a point, chasing status, feel strangely empty. They don't feed us the way they used to. I once worked with a man named Robert, 72. He told me I spent decades chasing promotions. Now I'd give anything to have one more slow breakfast with my wife while she was still here. His words stayed with me. They weren't filled with regret, they were filled with clarity. When we understand that time is finite, something magical happens. Every morning becomes sacred. Every conversation becomes meaningful. Every hug becomes a blessing. You stop rushing through life as if it's a race, and you start treating time like a gift one you open slowly, carefully, with gratitude. Science even supports this. Studies show that as people age, their sense of well-being increases when they focus less on achievement and more on emotional connection, spirituality, and meaningful relationships. In other words, the heart knows what the mind took decades to learn. Only a few things truly nourish us. So ask yourself right now, as you listen to my voice, what deserves the rest of your time? Is it your health, your family, a peaceful morning walk, a friendship that brings you joy, a spiritual practice that steadies your heart? Whatever it is, place your energy there. Because when you finally understand the limits of time, you don't become fearful, you become awake. And in that awakening, everyday moments, simple, ordinary quiet become the most precious treasures of your life. There's a truth about aging that very few people prepare us for. As the years pass, the balance quietly shifts. There are more funerals than weddings, more goodbyes than new hellos, and the empty chairs at the dinner table become harder to ignore. If you're over 50, you've probably felt this. You lose a parent, then a friend, then perhaps someone who was once the center of your world. And each loss leaves a space inside you, a space nothing seems to fill. I remember sitting with a woman named Carol, 73, after her sister passed away. She looked at me with trembling hands and said, "I feel like pieces of my life are falling away one by one. I don't know how to keep going." I held her hand and told her something that Buddhist philosophy has taught for thousands of years. People may leave in body, but love does not leave. Love simply changes form. Have you ever noticed this? A certain smell, a song, a phrase, and suddenly someone you lost feels close again, as if touching your shoulder from another world. That's love shifting shape, finding new ways to live inside you. You see, in Buddhism, we don't move on from people we love, we move forward with them. Their kindness becomes your kindness. Their lessons become your instinct. The way they loved becomes the way you begin to love others. When you comfort a friend the same way your mother once comforted you, when you use the wisdom your father taught you, when you laugh in the way your spouse used to make you laugh, they are there. Not behind you, within you. I once told Carol, "Your sister hasn't disappeared. She just moved from your life into your heart." And for the first time in weeks, she smiled. A small, fragile smile, but a real one. As we grow older, loss becomes a companion, but so does love. And love is always the stronger one. Yes, aging means saying goodbye more often, but it also means you've had the privilege of loving deeply enough to feel the ache. That ache is not a sign of something broken, it's a sign of something beautiful. So if your heart is carrying missing people tonight, place your hand over it and remember, they're not gone. They are light you now carry inside you. Live gently, live kindly. And in doing so, you let their love continue in this world. There's another truth we awaken to as we grow older, a truth that can feel uncomfortable at first. One day we will be forgotten, and my friend, that is completely okay. When we're younger, we build our identity around titles, achievements, and the roles we play. Parent, manager, leader, provider. We imagine these things will define us long after we're gone. But the older we become, the more clearly we see that life keeps moving. Children build their own worlds. Coworkers retire, move away, or simply forget the projects we once poured our hearts into. Society rushes forward like a river with no memory of every stone it has flowed past. Have you ever felt that strange realization? The quiet understanding that the world will continue, just fine without us. When I turned 60, a former student, now a professor herself, sent me a message. She said, "Teacher, I don't remember all your lectures, but I remember how calm I felt in your class." Her words hit me deeply. She didn't remember the content, she remembered the feeling. And that's when it struck me. We are not remembered by our titles. We are remembered by the impact of our presence. You won't be remembered for every accomplishment on your resume, but you will be remembered, however briefly, for the kindness you offered someone on a difficult day, for the patience you showed a loved one when they needed it, for the integrity you held when it would have been easier to turn away. Identity fades, names fade, but the ripples of our actions keep moving long after we can no longer see them. I often tell my students over 50, if you release the need to be remembered, you finally become free to live authentically. Imagine the freedom of that. To speak gently because it's who you are, not because you want praise. To help someone without expecting credit. To live today fully because today is the gift, not the legacy you hope to leave behind. I want you to picture a candle lighting 1,000 others. The original flame may disappear, but its warmth continues, carried forward by countless new lights. That is exactly how your life works. So if you ever worry, will people remember me? Place your hand on your heart and ask instead, who can I be kind to today? What truth can I embody? What goodness can I plant? Because long after your name is gone, the light you leave behind will remain quietly, gently in the lives you touched. There's a shift that happens somewhere in the second half of life, a quiet but profound shift. We stop asking, what have I achieved? And we begin asking, what have I given? When we were young, success was measured by salaries, promotions, trophies, applause. But after 50 or 60, those things lose their shine. They don't warm your heart the way they once did. Instead, something else begins to matter. Something deeper, quieter, more honest. You start thinking about the people you've helped, the burdens you've lifted, the souls you've soothed, simply by being there. And suddenly you realize the real meaning of your life isn't built by the things you collected, but by the lives you touched. I once had a friend named Michael, a retired engineer. He told me I spent 40 years building bridges, but the most important thing I ever built was the confidence of a young intern who had lost faith in herself. He paused, wiped his glasses, and said with a soft smile, That's the part of my life that feels worth remembering. As we get older, we possess a treasure the young simply don't have. Experience, not just knowledge, but lived wisdom, the kind woven from heartbreaks, victories, failures, and quiet mornings when you got back up after a hard night. When you share that wisdom, even in small ways, teaching your grandchildren patience, guiding a confused neighbor, listening to someone who feels invisible, offering a story that lightens another person's pain, you step into a new role, the keeper of the flame. And my friend, this role is sacred. You become someone who carries not just years, but meaning. Someone who passes on insight the way others once passed it to you. Someone who discovers that giving, not achieving, is what finally makes your life feel whole. There's a beauty in this stage of life, a beauty the young cannot understand yet. It's the beauty of knowing that your heart, your presence, your kindness can change a day, a mind, even a life. So ask yourself gently, who can I help today? Whose load can I lighten? What wisdom can I pass on? Because at the end of all our years, it won't be the trophies on the shelf that define us. It will be the warmth we left behind, the light we handed forward, and the love that continued through others long after we were gone. One of the hardest lessons we learn as we grow older is this: not everyone will stay. And strangely enough, that is the natural rhythm of life. People we once talked to every day slowly fade into the background. Friends who felt like family drift onto different paths. Even our own children become absorbed in their worlds as they should, building lives that no longer revolve around us. Have you ever looked back at old photographs and felt a small ache? Faces that once filled your days now only visit you in memories. The pain we feel doesn't come from the changes themselves, It comes from the belief we held for so long, the belief that everything should stay the same, that people should remain who they were, that relationships should remain as close as they once were. But life, my friend, is a river, and rivers do not hold on to their water. In Buddhist philosophy, this is the nature of impermanence. The truth that everything we love is constantly moving, shifting, unfolding. When we forget this, we cling. And when we cling, we suffer. I once spoke with a man named Henry in his 70s, who said, "I don't understand why so many people have left my life." I asked him, "When you were younger, didn't you also leave people behind as you grew?" He nodded slowly. And that realization softened something in him. Just like droplets traveling together in a river. Some people walk beside us for many years, others for only a season. But every one of them was meant to be there for the exact length of time they were. When we see this clearly, something shifts inside us. We move from resentment to gratitude, from asking, "Why did they leave?" to saying, "Thank you for the time we had." And here's the beautiful part. Even at 60, 70, or beyond, life still offers new companions. A neighbor who checks in on you. A fellow volunteer at the local community center. A stranger who becomes a dear friend. The heart doesn't stop growing just because the body slows down. So I ask you gently, is your heart still open? Is there room for new laughter, new conversations? New warmth. Letting go of old connections does not diminish the love that was shared. It simply makes space for new chapters, new people, new joy. The wisdom of age is understanding this simple truth. Not everyone will stay, but every connection was a gift. And every goodbye makes room for a new hello. There's something many of us carry into the later years of life. And it's heavier than we realize. Emotional debts, regrets, old resentments, mistakes we can't unsee, words we wish we hadn't said or wish we had said sooner. If you're over 50, you probably know this weight well. It sits in the chest like a small stone, not enough to stop you from living, but enough to keep your heart from ever feeling truly free. I once sat with a man named Joseph, 75, who told me quietly, "I think I've forgiven everyone except myself." And that sentence broke my heart a little because I knew how common it was. We often imagine forgiveness as something we offer to others. But the truth is, forgiveness is the greatest gift we offer to ourselves. Forgiving someone doesn't mean what they did was right. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean you erase the past. Forgiveness simply means you refuse to let the past chain you for the rest of your life. Have you ever replayed an old memory again and again, a decision you made in your 30s, a relationship you mishandled in your 40s, a moment where you were too harsh, too distracted, too afraid? I want you to try something. Place your hand over your heart and tell yourself, "I did the best I could with the understanding I had at that time," because it's true. At every point in your life, you acted from the level of awareness you had then. If you could have done better, you would have. And now, with more wisdom, more experience, more compassion, you are not the same person who made those mistakes. I once told Joseph, if you met your younger self right now, would you punish him? Or would you put a hand on his back and say, "It's okay, you tried"? He closed his eyes, took a breath and whispered I would tell him he did the best he could. And just like that, something softened inside him. A tightness he'd held for decades finally loosened. This is what forgiveness does. It opens the window. It lets the stale air of the past leave the room so the present can breathe again. As we age, our hearts deserve to be lighter, not heavier. We deserve to walk into the last chapters of our lives without carrying the ghosts of old wounds. So forgive the people who hurt you, not for their sake, but for your peace. Forgive yourself for the roads you didn't take, the things you didn't know, the times you weren't your best. Because the truth is, forgiveness doesn't rewrite your past, it rewrites your future. And you deserve a future, however long it may be, that is spacious, gentle, and free. There comes a moment in life when you look into the mirror and realize you are no longer young. And for many people, that moment feels like a loss. Society tells us that beauty belongs to the youthful, smooth skin, firm bodies, bright hair, no wrinkles. But society, my friend, only sees the surface. The soul sees something very different. Let me tell you something I've learned after decades of working with people over 50. There is a kind of beauty that only age can give. It's not the kind you find on magazine covers. It's the kind you find in the quiet strength of someone who has lived, truly lived. Have you ever noticed the eyes of an older person, how they hold entire stories without saying a word? Wrinkles around the eyes aren't flaws. They're the marks of 1,000 laughs, 1,000 tears, 1,000 moments that shaped a life. Silver hair isn't a failure. It's a crown woven from experience, from courage, from everything you've survived. I once had a student in her 70s, Martha, who told me I dyed my hair for 30 years. Last year I stopped, and I finally recognized myself again. And she looked radiant, not because she looked younger, but because she looked true. We spend so many years trying to look like someone we used to be. But aging invites us into a new kind of authenticity, one where our appearance reflects our inner life, not our fears. Think about the people who have inspired you the most in your life. Was it their flawless skin? Or the way they listened with patience, the way their presence made you feel safe, the way they understood things without needing many words? That is real beauty, the kind that doesn't fade because it doesn't depend on youth. There's a Japanese saying I've always loved, the older the tree, the deeper the roots. And isn't that true of us? With age you gain depth of understanding, softness of heart, steadiness of spirit, a generosity that only comes after decades of learning what truly matters. You become someone younger. People turn to not because you look like them, but because you know what they do not yet know. So when you look into the mirror and see lines or softness or silver, pause, look deeper. You will see a face shaped by storms survived, loves cherished, losses endured, and wisdom earned. That is beauty, a different beauty, a stronger, more soulful beauty one youth could never offer. Wear your years with pride, my friend. They are not a burden, they are your story, and your story is beautiful.